Hello and welcome to Little Birdie's sports show for a Monday first look. I'm your host, Nikki Sylvester. Joining me today is MG for the AFL Round 15 review and Toprope up in orange for the NRL Origin round. First Look is proudly brought to you by Little Birdie TV, topsport.com.au, Punting Form and Manscaped for the very best in men's grooming. MG, how was your weekend? Up and about?
Yeah, good, Nick. Yeah, it was. We've got a lot to unpack a bit later in the show with the round. One of the better rounds we've had in the AFL in quite a few years, not just this year. So all top 8 sides played each other. And your side that you wrote off last week, Melbourne, they've put the stamp back on the competition, which we'll go through in the results shortly.
Oh my God, they had one win. Let's see if they back it up. Toprope, I'm throwing to you, buddy, because you had obviously a massive night last night in Origin, and you've had the girls on Friday night, and you had all the internationals. You've got no sleep. How are you?
Yeah, tired, definitely tired. I love Rep Round. They've really done a good job with it. The Women's Origin. The only kind of downside of that is that it's not a 3-game series. It's absolutely sensational. The rise of women's rugby league has been kind of one of the great stories over the last kind of couple of years, and Origin on Friday night certainly didn't let us down. We'll go through that a bit later. International footy is fast becoming the pinnacle of the game, and Rep Weekend is being able to see some of these great Islander nations has been fantastic. And of course, Origin last night, New South Wales dominant winners, which we'll get into. Sure.
Do you know what I was really impressed with the girls? Not only like their tackles, they are super strong girls. They were amazing. That was good footy. But their braids, like whoever's doing their braiding, I mean, can we just reach out to these teams and just say like, who is doing these braids? Because, I'm going to need some help come carnival time. That was insane. That was great. I was loving it. I mean, I don't know if you picked up on how good their braids were, but it's pretty hard to do that and keep that intact for, an 80-minute game of footy as hard as they were playing. So I was pretty impressed.
I watched the game pretty closely, Nick, but I can't say I paid much attention to the braids. So
Next time. Did you pick up on their braids, MJ?
I noticed they had the braids, but like Toprope, I was watching it from a
different perspective.
Maybe from a punting perspective, yeah. But I agree with Toprope. The Origin was unbelievable for both the Friday and the Sunday show in Perth. It's excellent for Perth City as well. Now that they've done the AFL Grand Final and what they did with the State of Origin last night as well.
Huge crowd. What was their crowd?
I'm not sure, but they put on an unbelievable show, and I'm not sure. We'll check with Toprope later if he's got any thoughts on why the ground was so wet. But the show was unbelievable, and obviously the scoring in both games were highlighted the Origin at its best level, so it was good.
Yeah, it was great watching. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Ready for Game 3 for the men's, obviously for the decider. And any other sporting news? We had that Dyson Daniels from Victoria. Where did he go? Top 8 in the NBA draft, number 8?
Yeah, went pick 8 to the Pelicans, so he joins Zion down there. And, I think his payday was about $4 million, so not bad for a 19-year-old to kick off. But obviously that money's going to be insignificant for his long-term future. But, back-to-back years now we've had top 8 picks from Australia, so it's excellent for our basketball.
Fantastic for Aussie basketball. I really like the suit that he was wearing. I think I showed you the pic. It was very sharp. If he had a $4 million payday, he looked the part that day. It was amazing.
Very sharp.
Yep, picked up on that. And Wimbledon?
Starts tonight.
Oh, tonight.
We've got, they go, well, not really a night off because Origin didn't finish until about 10:30, but we've got just quickly, why Borko's put up these prices. We've got Wimbledon starting tonight for the next 2 weeks. So,
your girl.
Borka, I mean, as the Toprope said, we are lacking sleep. We just keep pushing through the winter. Shwea Tech at the top there for Top Sports here at $2.50. So she's on her win streak. She looks like she's overcome her injury, so she's obviously going to be hard to beat. Field really falls away pretty quickly there, as you can see. The second favourite out to $9.75 Jabeur, and then the teenager Goff at 14. And just note right there at the bottom of the page there, Serena Williams, 7-time champion, hasn't played since last year's Wimbledon. It's going to be at $26. So interesting to see how her progress goes through.
Ooh, Djokovic, he is short, $1.83.
Yeah.
Wow.
Again, I think just the field, the competition falls away. Obviously, the Russian can't play Medvedev, which hurts. Djokovic at 183. Berrettini, your boy, the Italian, at 650.
The gorgeous man, he is.
Yes. Nadal at 875. Looks like he's going to play. He basically couldn't walk after winning the French Open, so he looks like he's ready to go play an exhibition match at 875. And then, as you can see, the field falls away pretty quick. Your boy Kyrgios at $22. I can't believe he's $22. Give me a spell. donate your money to charity instead of backing Kyrgios there at $22, I would have thought. But looking forward to the next 2 weeks. The coverage is always great, and it is the pinnacle for tennis for the year. Fantastic.
Thanks, MG. We know you love your tennis. Top Rope, do you want to have a chat to me about the golf, buddy?
Yeah, it was a great weekend of golf, actually. We had Xander win his first individual PGA Tour crown in, I think, 4 years, the Olympic gold medalist. Held off Patrick Cantlay, who collapsed in the final round, and Sahith Theegala, who double bogeyed the last, ended up winning by a couple of shots there. The DP World Tour over in Germany was just a shootout, and Houghton and Lee managed to hang on there. But probably the two big tournaments that probably didn't get the coverage they deserved were the two majors over the weekend. The Women's PGA. Fascinating story here. Ingi Chun led by 6 shots after a couple of rounds. Looked absolutely home and hosed. Led by 3 shots going into the final round. Was dead square after 3 and was trailing by 2 heading into the back 9. Lexi Thompson looking to win her second major. The one on Lexi Thompson to win her second major, led by a couple of shots. Lost her putter completely on the back 9, and Ingi Chun kicked back to win. So we'd like to see some more horses do that on a Saturday for every now and then, but by Ingi Chun. And Padraig Harrington held on to beat Steve Stricker to win the men's US Senior Open. So, big weekend in golf and some big results there.
MG, let's go to you for the AFL, mate. Okay, here we go. Melbourne, yes, they did beat Brisbane 117-53. The Western Bulldogs beat Hawthorn 125-83. West Coast took care of Essendon 107-97. Carlton beat Freo 81-50. Geelong beat Richmond 89-86. Sydney beat St Kilda 83-32. Adelaide beat Kangaroos 115-58. Collingwood beat the GWS 88-77, and Port Adelaide beat the Gold Coast 93-91. MG, what a round for you.
Yeah, it was good. Kicked off Thursday night there with what we thought would be a very good matchup, 1v2. But Melbourne stood up and stamped their authority back on this competition, shortened from 370 to 280, I believe, back in the Premiership. We'll check that later. But yeah, unbelievable, especially second and third quarters were dominant. Brisbane had no answers at the MCG, a venue which they still cannot win. Just running through the rest, the Bulldogs took care of Hawthorn as expected. West Coast, there was plenty of money for West Coast. They upset Essendon, so their season is in free fall, unfortunately, for the Bombers. West Coast getting a few players back and showing signs of life, and they might win a few on the back end. Matchup that I was really looking forward to is Carlton and Freo, and all the money was for Freo, but geez, the Blues stood up and did a job on Freo. Freo, very poor actually. Only to score 50 points under the dome in perfect conditions is very disappointing going forward for Freo.
Can I ask you just very quickly, I know that when Nat Fyfe touched the umpire, do you think there's anything in that? Like, surely there's nothing in that.
I think he was half pushed into it myself. I just think there was
it was just like a tiny little touch.
Yeah, I think he was pushed in from behind, so I wouldn't worry about that. That's not intentional. 2-time Brownlow medalist, they like him too much. They let him go.
I like Fyfe too. I'd let him go.
The match of the round that we stated on Friday was going to be Geelong and Richmond. Lived up to its billing. One of the best finishes for the year, and it was a high-level contest. Both of these sides should, depending on injuries going forward, will be, I think, close to the Final Four going forward. One of them might even make a grand final. But Richmond were a bit stiff, hit the lead right at the end, couldn't hold on in the last minute, unfortunately. But Geelong get the job done with their draw. I think they've got 5 home games still to come, Geelong. So we would expect them to finish in the top 2 to 3 teams. Next game, St Kilda got issues. Sydney absolutely flogged them, only to kick 32 points as Saints. They've lost 3 in a row now, so tough draw home. I can't see them making the finals now, unfortunately, for the Saints supporters. Adelaide did a job on the Kangaroos. I thought the money was for the Kangaroos. They thought they might put up a good effort down there in Tasmania, but ordinary game to watch, and the Kangaroos are a disaster, let's be honest. Good match at the MCG, even though weather was a bit tough. Collingwood prevailed there. Scoreboard kind of flooded GWS. They got close late, but Collingwood controlled the game for most of the evening, and it actually flooded the scoreboard with Collingwood kicking, I think, 21 behinds for the game. And another great finish at the end to finish off the week was Port and Gold Coast. Gold Coast were brave, going down to Adelaide, and Port just hang on to get the job done by 2 points. Big win for them, because I think their season might have been over to make the 8 if they didn't win. So, they're back in the game. But, one of the better weeks for the year, so it was good.
Thanks, MG. Yeah, I was having a look at the ladder last night and I thought that 7 to 10, geez, that's going to fluctuate now. Like if you're a top 8 finish better, like there'd be some value in there, I think, if you're just playing that week to week. If we just have a look at the bookie wrap, the faves, 7 out of 9 faves for the week, 5 of 9 covers, 7 of 9 over totals, and 8 out of 9 home teams. And for the season, 70% of faves, 52% of covers, 54% of over totals, and 60% of the home teams.
Yeah, all the home teams won. High scoring total was 7 out of 9 overs, and probably about an even week. The bookies got West Coast obviously helping. The other one was close, but yeah, I think it's pretty much been an even season with favourites winning about 70%. It's tracking just evenly for punters and bookies at this stage.
Okay, and if we have a look at the stings for the week, oh, geez, you had some bets this weekend.
Yeah,
I like it when I see a full roster.
Yeah,
4 out of 8.
Well, to be fair, we double dipped on 2. Yeah. We went again on the Bulldogs, both the line and the total there, which was kind of good result. Got me out of the week, I guess. Mm-hmm. So we played from in front with that result and just didn't finish the weekend off at all. So I think we finished about square, down just 0.85 of a unit. But yeah, biggest betting week of the year with 20 units in play.
Okay, now we are going to have a look at Thursday night's game. So Brisbane are going to go home to the Gabba. So 7:20 Thursday night. Early betting markets at the moment. Brisbane head-to-head $1.45. The Western Bulldogs $2.80. The line looks to be about 14.5 at the moment and no totals at the moment because we are on a Monday. MG, how do you see this one?
Yeah, good matchup like the Thursday. They're continuing on the AFL. And, yeah, this is a great matchup, actually. Brisbane are coming off, obviously, a pounding of Melbourne last week. Yep. They get to go back home 7 days. Bulldogs are off a 6-day break, so that's a bit of a concern for them. Maybe, I'm not sure if Tim English is going to come up with concussion. They might give him another week. So that will be a big loss if he doesn't get up. I think the betting's about right. I think that Brisbane favourite 2 goals, 12 to 14 points is about the right margin. So I wouldn't say there's an early play in this one. Brisbane are struggling, but they do go home where they are 6-0 this season. So back in the comfort of their own home, and the Bulldogs have a 6-day break. I understand why they're favourite. Also, if they get Zorko, their captain, back, and Bailey will maybe push the market a bit to Brisbane. But Bulldogs have won 5 of their last 6, so they're in form. Even though they've all been against bottom sides, and the only side that they played with any form was Geelong, and they lost by 2 goals there. So great match. Don't think it's a betting option at this stage, and we'll wait and see what the total comes out.
Okay, that's just going to be some AFL viewing for your Thursday night. Now, if we have a look at the Premiership market, we did touch on that earlier. Okay, Melbourne back into 280, Geelong 650, Brisbane 7, Fremantle 9, Richmond 11, Carlton 13, Sydney 15, Collingwood 17, and the Western Bulldogs at 21.
Yeah, it's bunched behind Melbourne. As you can see, it's pretty even. I think you mentioned that before on the ladder as well. It's there's going to be a lot of 8-point games, I guess, in the last 7 or 8 rounds of the season. But yeah, Melbourne have moved back in from 370 to 280 on the weekend. So the bookies won't want to be risking them going forward just with the amount of multis and everything that could potentially be going to Penrith, Melbourne Storm in the NRL and things like that. But yeah, even behind them. And, Geelong's probably been the big mover just with their draw as well, 5 games at home. I'd probably be surprised if they miss the top 4 from here.
Okay, all right. Thanks, MG. Now, we are going to have a quick look at the Brownlow. So, Clayton Oliver, $3.95, Lachie Neale, 4, Brayshaw, 5, Patrick Cripps at 5, and the rest are almost in double figures. Sam Walsh rounding out at $9.50. Yeah,
bookies have finally got there, found the right favourite. It's taken them about, we'll call it 2 months, and they've finally found Oliver as the favourite. He probably should have been the favourite a lot earlier than this, but anyway, we finally got there, and Top Sports have got him 5 cents favourite. Just been funny, I think, there, Top Sports at $3.95 and Lachie Neale at $4. Not too much, and there's not too many live chances at this stage, with only on the back end of the season and a high count. There's a lot of players that won't feature in the finish of this. So, happy that Oliver's tracking towards favourite. Neale's obviously the danger, and Carlton, just with Walsh back in form, it's probably taken away the sting of Cripps having a chance to win the Brownlow.
Oh, Carlton, they got too many there. Poor Patrick Cripps, he deserves a Brownlow, that man. Now, if we have a look at the Coleman, Charlie Curnow, $2.60, Jeremy Cameron, $2.90, Tom Lynch, $5.80, Max King, $6, Tom Hawkins, $6.25, and Aaron Norton rounds out $9 for the everything under double figures.
Yeah, Charlie Curnow still leads on 44 goals, and he is the favourite, but I'm not convinced he's a strong favourite here. Just with obviously Harry Mackay and Curnow, they do have an easy run, Carlton, so I understand why the bookies want to force him favourite, but it's a bunch field here, and there is some value behind him, so I would say Curnow right now is a bit of a false favourite. I think there's value behind.
Okay, value behind punters. Now, if you are serious about your AFL punting, you do need the Sting, so that can be found in the Little Birdie live TV shop for $22 a week. Serious about AFL? You've heard him give you some tips today. Get AFL Stings. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be back with Top Rope. Welcome back to First Look, proudly brought to you by topsport.com.au. Family owned and operated for over 35 years. Bet with a bookie you can trust. Bet with TopSport. Okay, we are going to the man of the moment, Top Rope. You must be up and about. The State of Origin last night, that was all you, buddy.
It was very impressive. It was it was a game that for mine was a pretty easy read going into it. You know, like the referee stayed the same. The rub of the green was always going to go the other way. Close calls were always going to go back to New South Wales after they certainly favoured Queensland the first one. Desperation, New South Wales was a good spot for them. And in the end, they ran away comfortable winners. So probably a little bit closer than I kind of thought before halftime. But some real discipline. I know that you two both thought Felice Kaufusi shouldn't have been sin bin, but and the act in and of itself for mine wasn't worthy of a sin bin. But the fact there was 5 repeated infringements in the space of about 3 minutes, he had to go.
But you take a player off during Origin for 8 minutes, and you know what's going to happen. Like they defended it really well, Queensland. Like I thought they really did well without Kaufusi on the field, but then just the level of exhaustion that takes out of the players. And then you really saw New South Wales run away with it because you can't possibly defend for 8 minutes without a player. And then in Origin and expect for the game to be competitive beyond there. So, if you're a Queensland supporter, I was sending MG some text messages from my cousins up in Queensland. I'm telling you, they were throwing things. They were like, this guy's got to go. But umpiring aside, it was a very good game by New South Wales. It was a good game. But
they made the right adjustments, which is what they needed to do. So what New South Wales were, where they lost it in the opener was they were absolutely smashed in the ruck. Partly through kind of a bit of naivety, they were trying to play it like a typical NRL game, whereas Queensland were all over them, which was very smart by them, and they were just getting no momentum, no leg speed through the middle. So part of that was some ordinary middle forwards. The other part of that was Damien Cook probably wasn't giving the early ball to the forwards to clear that they needed. All the adjustments were made there. New South Wales dominated the middle of the ruck. They were dominating through the middle. They were getting clean ball to clear early on. Korostow hooker to start with. Cook off the bench was a masterstroke. Burton had one of the great debuts in Origin, and he will be there for a decade based on that performance. He looked like he fit in perfectly. And I guess the question marks now need to be asked around Queensland. Look, the final blowout was not really reflective of where Queensland. They didn't miss 60 tackles, a record in Origin, which was very poor. And some of the one-on-one misses. I totally get what you said earlier around the exhaustion, but Felice Kaufusi missing a very simple one for the Angus Crichton try. He had no excuses. Jeremiah Nanai had been on the field for about 3 minutes when he missed Jerome Luai just pushing through him. So no excuses there. So and a lot of the drop ball from the wingers, we'll probably see those positions come under scrutiny as well. So, we had a Queensland for a decider. My kind of gut feeling is early on, Queensland are probably value at the plus 3.5, $2.35 at the moment. But, it's going to be fascinating how the next couple of weeks play out.
Oh, it's going to be a great decider. And the other good news that for you is that Brad Fittler is staying at the Blues. He's not going to the Canterbury Bulldogs. I thought that is just...
Oh, that is wonderful news.
I knew you'd be happy about that. They just gave you the all-round package last night, mate. They gave you Fittler staying on, not going to Canterbury, and then they gave you the win. You had Cleary for man of the match. You said that there was a little bit more value in Tedeschi, but Cleary, he played so well.
Cleary was outstanding. I think it was a touch and go, probably till about the 50-minute mark as to who the man of the match was, and then Cleary went bang, bang with a couple of tries and a try assist to Daniel Tupou, and it was all over by then. So not much to offer in play. Cleary was favourite throughout much of the running there, but dominant performance, and his first real signature game in kind of like 4 or 5 series he's played in now, Nathan Cleary. So great performance there from him, and we'll certainly get the monkey off his back. He was maligned, maybe a little unfairly after game 1, but he turned in a super performance. So great effort there from Cleary.
And do you want to just give me a quick rundown on the international games? So New Zealand beat Tonga 26-6, Samoa beat the Cook Islands 42-12, Papua New Guinea beat Fiji 24-14, and in the women's, the girls, New South Wales 20-14 on Friday night.
Yeah, the women's origin was an absolute ripper to kick off the round. It was a real kind of ding-dong tussle down in Canberra. Isabel Kelly scored the deciding try down there. Queensland looked like they scored a try not far from full-time, ruled offside, but cracking game. And Emma Tomogato, the New South fullback, was probably the best player on the field. But individual brilliant try by Kira Dibb. And Caitlin Johnson off the bench, big bopper, was absolutely outstanding there. The internationals, we saw the return of rugby league to New Zealand after 3 years thanks to COVID, and it was an absolutely sensational turnout, sold out Tonga and the Kiwis. And then the class of the key positions probably told. Joe Manu ran for the 300 metres, was best player on the ground by a mile, but Tonga just probably lacked a little bit in the halves to kind of really put New Zealand under any kind of sustained pressure. Samoa beat the Cook Islands 42-12, and what was probably a disappointing result for Samoa. They end up jumping 37.5-point favourites, led 20-0 after about 20 minutes. David Noffaluma got 4 tries, but really were very poor in the middle part of that, and that kind of doesn't bode too well with their World Cup campaign later in the year. And then Papua New Guinea upset Fiji. Papua New Guinea absolutely. How some of those players haven't got NRL contracts is beyond me. It was a fierce game, outstanding, and the halves. Lachlan Lamb was the richest player. Well, probably the PNG difference there in 24-14 win. So great weekend of rugby league.
Thanks, Toprope. Now, if we have a quick look at the GGOA results, you got 3 out of 4, and like you said, that line with Samoa, that was a bit rough because, like you said, what were they? 20-something up at halftime. So
they were 20-0 up after 18 minutes. So that game, they should have won that game by 60. It was unbelievable how many tries they butchered and kind of how little they were caring in the middle of that game. But we got the other 3. Unlucky not to get the sweep there. The women's head-to-head was a close one thing, but PNG, they went off the stick and led for most of the game there. And the New South Wales men was a pretty easy watch on that. Was it 32-point win? A
good weekend for GGOA. Now, let's go and have a look at the first game on Thursday night. Manly versus the Storm, 7:50 p.m. at 4 Pines Park in Sydney. Early betting, Manly $3.80, the Storm $1.27, and the line looks to be 10.5 at the moment. Jeez, this will be a big game if Manly can even be competitive here.
Yeah, I am just all over Melbourne anytime they play Manly. And the word is Ryan Pappenhausen will be back this week, so I think that's going to be important to see the Pap back. I guess the concern at the moment is Cameron Munster. He's gone for some scans on his shoulder, so unclear whether he's going to play or not. But Jerome Hughes pulled up fine from the test match. I think the Storm will be too classy for Manly, that's for sure.
Okay, all right. The Storm there. Now, if we have a look at the Premiership market, Penrith 2.30, Melbourne Storm 3.25, Para 10, North Queensland 11, Cronulla 12, Sydney Roosters 19, the Broncos 21, Manly 51, and South Sydney 51. It just keeps getting shorter and shorter for these two.
Yeah, it looks a 2-horse war. It's amazing. Penrith had 21 players from their squad play representative football over the weekend. That shows the depth they've got there. So, remarkable effort. Melbourne, they keep on ticking. It really is getting harder and harder to see any team out of those two winning it. I think it's probably a genuine flip between those sides, and so you'd rather be on Melbourne at the price.
Okay, Melbourne at the price. Punters, if you are serious about the NRL punting, you do need GGOA, and you can get that in the Little Birdie Live TV shop from $22 a week. He had a great one last weekend. It's only going to get better from here. GGOA, $22 a week in the Little Birdie Live TV shop. MG, over to you.
Yeah, Nikki, you got charity time. We'll just check last week's results here. Becoming a runaway leader here. You guys are going to have to lift your game. We had 2 out of 3, so that seems to be about our average weekly going forward at this stage. The Bulldogs covered easily, minus 14.5, did the job. Unfortunately for Nikki, the Dockers didn't put in their best performance against the Blues, and Toprope on Friday night got the job done with the women's state of origin there, -1.5. So Toprope stays in the game at 6 wins, and I am leading on 9 wins at the moment for Love Me, Love You. So what have we got this week for our charities for week 17 predictions? We'll go to Nikki first. For Sids and Kids you play for, are you going AFL or NRL this week?
I'm swapping codes. I'm going back to the NRL, and I'm going to take Parramatta -4.5.
-4.5 for Nikki. Toprope for Wayside Chapel. NRL, what is your selection this week?
I haven't given the week a good look just yet, but I'll the Storm -10.5 appealing on Thursday night in Sydney.
Just go on the stock standard there, Toprope.
Stock standard.
The easy money, the Storm. You don't have to go too far, you. For myself, for Love Me, Love You, I'm going to go the Giants -11.5 this week. I think that's a little on the cheap side against the Hawks, who have run out of gas for mine. So we will see how those tips go, but following them because we've been in some form on these this last couple of weeks. So it's good form.
Of course we are. We're always in form. Thanks, MG and Toprope. That is a wrap for this week's edition of First Look. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, download our podcast everywhere you get your good podcasts from. Follow us on our socials, Little Birdie TV, Twitter and Insta. Remember, all your footy betting action is at topsport.com.au. OB will be back with the boys on Friday. That's a wrap. See you next Monday.